The year was 1939, and Europe was about to descend into the darkest chapter of its history. Nations trembled beneath the roar of German tanks, cities crumbled under the relentless sky, and truth itself began to vanish behind walls of propaganda and fear. Amid the chaos, a single man, unknown, unarmed, and uninvited, would step into the heart of the world's greatest deception. His name was Juan Puhol Garcia, and he would become the Nazi agent who fooled the entire world. He was not a soldier, nor a trained spy. He was a failed businessman from Barcelona, a man whose early life offered no hint of destiny. Yet behind his mild eyes and quiet manner lay something rare, a hatred of tyranny so deep it compelled him to fight a war with words and imagination. When Spain fell to Franco's fascism, Pujol saw the rise of Hitler as a greater evil still. He vowed to act, not for country or glory, but for conscience. He first offered his services to the British, certain that his determination and fluency in languages would be welcomed. But London's intelligence officers dismissed him. They already had spies, they said. They didn't need an idealistic Spaniard with no training. Most men would have given up. Pujol decided instead to become a spy, without permission. He approached the Germans pretending to be a devoted Nazi sympathizer. He convinced them he wanted to serve the Führer's cause. The Abwehr, Germany's military intelligence, accepted him eagerly. They gave him money, invisible ink, and orders to travel to Britain to build a network of Nazi informants. But Pujol never went to Britain. He went to Lisbon. There, in small cafes filled with smoke and murmurs of intrigue, he began his astonishing lie. From his modest apartment, he invented an entire web of agents. He wrote long, meticulous reports describing weather over British airfields, troop movements in Scotland, and the secret morale of Londoners during the Blitz, all from his imagination and newspaper clippings. To the Germans, his intelligence was gold. They wired him money, praised his diligence, and sent him coded instructions. They believed him completely. He had, through sheer audacity, become a Nazi spy in a country he had never entered. Months later, British intelligence finally noticed his handiwork. The Germans were sending remarkably detailed reports from a spy they believed was operating inside England. The reports were too elaborate, too consistent to ignore. The British traced the forgeries to Pujol, and instead of arresting him, they recruited him. MI5 gave him the codename Garbo, after the actress Greta Garbo, because, as one officer said, only an actor of her skill could perform deception of such magnitude. Now he truly became the double agent he had always imagined. The Germans thought they had an asset deep in London. The British realized they had something far greater, a weapon of illusion. Together they built one of the most intricate webs of disinformation in history. Garbo's imaginary network expanded to 27 fictional agents, pilots, sailors, civil servants, even a typist in the War Office. He gave each a name, a background, and a voice. He wrote letters between them, forged receipts, invented deaths and promotions. Some of his fictional spies were arrested, others died heroically. Each lie gave the network life, and every report he sent to Berlin passed through MI5, carefully crafted to appear authentic but strategically misleading. The Germans devoured them. They rewarded Garbo handsomely, believing he was one of their greatest assets. In 1944, they awarded him the Iron Cross, an honor personally approved by Hitler himself. It remains one of the strangest ironies of the war, a medal for loyalty, given to a man who betrayed them completely. The stage was set for his masterpiece. The Allies were preparing for Operation Overlord, the D-Day invasion that would liberate Europe. The success of the operation depended on one thing: convincing Hitler that Normandy was not the target. Garbo's task was to sell the illusion that the real invasion would strike at Calais. He began months of preparation, feeding the Germans a slow, steady stream of lies wrapped in truth. He described the buildup of fake armies in southeastern England, under the supposed command of General Patton. He reported movements of imaginary divisions, fake airfields, phantom tanks made of wood and canvas. Each report aligned perfectly with the Allies' broader deception plan, Operation Fortitude. Garbo's brilliance was not just in fabricating stories, it was in giving them emotional realism. He wrote of the weather delays, the frustrations of his agents, the human cost of war. Every detail anchored his lies in believable emotion. When D-Day finally came on June 6, 1944, his greatest act unfolded. Garbo sent frantic messages to his German handlers, warning that a massive invasion was underway in Normandy, but assuring them it was only a diversion. The main blow, he insisted, would still come at Calais. The Germans believed him. They held back their reserves, the 15th Army, waiting for the attack that never came. By the time they realized their mistake, it was too late. The Allies had secured the beaches. The tide of the war had turned. Historians later calculated that Garbo's deception saved tens of thousands of lives. Without it, German reinforcements could have crushed the invasion in its infancy. But at the time, few knew his name. His achievements were hidden behind layers of secrecy. The man who fooled the world returned to obscurity. After the war, Garbo feared that surviving Nazis might seek revenge. He faked his death, staged malaria in Angola, and vanished. For nearly 40 years, the world believed Juan Puhol Garcia had died in 1949. In truth, he was living quietly in Venezuela, running a small business, reading, remembering. His past was a secret even to his family. Only in 1984 did a British historian track him down, alive and unrepentant. When asked why he had risked everything, he said simply, "Because I wanted to do something good for humanity." His story stands as one of the most astonishing feats of psychological warfare ever conceived. A one-man campaign fought with imagination instead of bullets. He had fooled Hitler, the Gestapo, and the Abwehr. He had fooled the world. But perhaps the greatest trick of all was that he did it not for personal gain or ideology, but for a deeply human belief in the difference between right and wrong. As the ruins of the Third Reich crumbled and the Nuremberg trials began, the architects of destruction were unmasked, men who had built their empire on lies. Yet, in the shadows of that same war, one man used lies to bring truth. While others killed for power, he deceived for peace. His life reminds us that the battlefield of the mind can be more decisive than any front of war. The Nazi Empire collapsed not only under the weight of Allied guns, but under the collapse of its own certainty that it could not be deceived. Juan Puhol Garcia proved otherwise. His weapon was trust, his ammunition, belief. He showed that even in an age of machines and death camps, the human imagination remained the most unpredictable force of all. Today, his name rarely appears in textbooks. His medals gather dust in museums. Yet his invisible fingerprints mark one of history's greatest turning points. The world that rose from the ashes of 1945, free, fragile, and flawed, owes part of its existence to a man who fought with nothing but words and nerve. In the end, the story of Juan Puhol Garcia is not just about deception. It is about the astonishing power of conviction. The belief that one person, armed only with courage and cunning, can outwit an empire built on terror. It is the story of the man who built an empire of ghosts, whispered lies that became weapons, and fooled the most dangerous regime the world had ever known. The Nazi war machine prided itself on precision, control, and discipline, yet it was undone by the one thing it could never predict: imagination. And in that, Juan Puhol Garcia, Agent Garbo, remains the unlikely hero of a war fought not just for territory, but for the truth itself. The man who fooled the world did so without firing a single shot. And in doing so, he proved that even the darkest lies can be turned against those who wield them. His was not the war of soldiers or spies. It was the quiet, invisible war for the human mind.